Thanks, Trudy. That was 3 minutes in, and I did not realize at all. Okay, so I'm gonna start all of that again. I wonder if it's worth me start. I can cut that out afterwards. Okay, well, thank you for that. I did not realize I was muted. So I've been talking for 3 minutes. One of the things I've been talking about is the area of the middle back, which is what we're going to work on in today's lesson. So I'm going to skip over everything I just said. Maybe I'll talk about it again at the end. But what I'd like you to do is just bring your attention down through your spine, so that you can feel the kind of the whole length of the spine down through you. And you don't need to be aware of all the separate links in the chain. You just need to be able to get an overall sense of your spine, or the middle of you. Good. Then bring your attention specifically to the middle of the spine. The spine that runs through the area of the ribs. And just see how much of that area you can feel, how much feels comfortable. Is that area like an unknown zone, or is it known because there's some discomfort, or do you feel quite familiar with that area of your back? And you can very gently notice your breathing, feeling how the changing position of the ribs as you breathe in and breathe out affects that middle part of your spine. Good. And then very gently just bend your head down, as if you were to look down at the chair beneath you, and come back up. And just as at the same time as doing that, see if you can kind of feel into this area of the spine that comes through the chest area. And just feel how this part of you is responding to the kind of the proposition of looking down. Does this area of your back respond? Does it listen to your head's movement? Or is there some sense of it staying still and not responding? Good. Take a little rest. Just come back to a balanced middle position. And close your eyes again. And feel through into this middle part of your spine, and just move your attention over to your right shoulder blade. Can you feel what the distance is between your spine and the right shoulder blade? And I'd like you to make a very small movement where you take the right shoulder blade slightly further away from the spine. So this is going to require your shoulder, the tip of your shoulder, to move gently forwards. But I'd like you to keep your attention in some way on this middle part of you, the spine, and the shoulder blade, and the distance between the two things. So as you move your shoulder blade across to the outside, feeling that sense of space between the spine and the shoulder blade increase. And just do this very gently. It can be a small amount, it could be a fractional movement. And see if you can keep your sense of your breathing, a softness in your chest as you do this. In some way, kind of moving in such a small, quiet, gentle way that you can feel that the ribs can soften, And the chest in general is not kind of clenching or tightening up as you're doing the movement. Good. Let that go. Bring your attention back to the spine running down through the center of your ribs. And then move your attention across to your left shoulder blade. And feel the position of your left shoulder blade, and feel, without making any movement, how close or how far away do you feel the shoulder blade from the spine? Again, maybe you notice that there's a slight change in that relationship or that distance as you breathe in and you breathe out. And then very gently begin to move the left shoulder blade away from the spine. And again, a way you can do this is by just bringing the tip of the left shoulder slightly forwards, and then the shoulder blade at the back that's connected to the shoulder is just going to slide very gently out to the side. Doesn't need to be a big movement. See if you can keep breathing as you do it. And notice, is there a point as the shoulder and the shoulder blade move out to the side where your body is encouraged to turn or rotate slightly? Is there a point where it feels like as the shoulder blade moves out to the side that the spine starts to come with the shoulder blade? Again, very gentle, very small movements. Doing the movements in such a way that allow the chest to soften, the ribs and the breathing to be easy, and it to be more kind of curious and explorative rather than sort of, looking for change or looking for something better than you have. Giving yourself the opportunity to feel the relationship between your shoulder blade and your spine. Okay, take a rest. Bring your attention back to that middle part of the spine, between the chest. And very gently move your attention over to your right shoulder blade again, and see if you can make the space between the right shoulder blade and the spine shorter. See if you can draw the right shoulder blade inwards towards the spine. Again, this is a very gentle movement, small. Taking the shoulder blade in and just feeling that sense of connection between the shoulder blade and the spine. And is there a point as you take the right shoulder blade towards the spine that the spine starts to rotate gently? It's like the shoulder blade, the sliding of the shoulder blade inwards towards the spine generates an initial turning movement of the body. See if you can keep breathing as you do this. And feel kind of like, how do the ribs feel on the right side? The ribs that join into the spine. Can you feel the shoulder blade sliding across the ribs on the right? It's lots of very kind of subtle, delicate connections between the ribs themselves and the spine and the shoulder blade. It's quite an interesting area in terms of all the muscle attachments and how the body is organized in that area. Good. Let that rest. Just close your eyes, come back to your breathing for a moment. See if anything has changed in your breathing. Do you have a different sense of the ribs at the back of your body? Good. And then move your attention from the middle of you, from the spine, over to your left shoulder blade, and see if you can very gently begin to take your left shoulder blade inwards towards your spine. So shortening the distance between the shoulder blade on the left and the spine. Bringing the shoulder blade towards the spine, and as you do that, very gently, very slowly, does it initiate any rotation? Is there a point where it kind of stops being a separate movement from the spine and they start to kind of move together or work together? Keep breathing and notice any difference you feel in moving the left shoulder blade than the right shoulder blade. For me, my left shoulder blade definitely feels a little less clear. The movement's a little less coordinated. I try and go backwards towards the spine or inwards towards the spine, and there's maybe a slight upwards direction at the same time, or something else happening that I don't want to happen. And notice as you draw the shoulder blade towards the spine, how does it feel? Can you feel the ribs underneath the shoulder blade? And is there some sense of rotation that's initiated in the spine itself? Good. Take a rest. So just again, bring your attention down through the length of your spine. Has your sense of that middle, the middle part of you, the spine running down through the middle of you, has it improved in any way? Do you feel more aware of it than you were earlier? And bring your attention again to your breathing. Feel the ribs at the back of the body. Are they moving now in a way that they weren't earlier with the breath, or are you aware of them now in a way that you weren't earlier? Good. So, what I'd like you to do is very gently slide the right shoulder blade away from the spine. So, keeping some attention in the middle of you, in the spine, sliding the right shoulder away from you at the same time as sliding the left shoulder towards the spine. Sliding the right shoulder blade away from the spine at the same time as sliding the left shoulder blade towards the spine. And see if you can really do it in a small, comfortable way. So this is really not a big movement. You can see how much I'm moving myself. It's really like maybe a centimeter or an inch at the most. As I slide the right shoulder blade out away from the spine, I'm bringing the left shoulder blade in towards the spine. And in some way, maybe you can feel that there's a point that that really begins to initiate rotation in the spine itself. But do it very gently, very comfortably. Don't do it in such a way that you stop breathing. Again, having this curious, exploratory attitude. So anytime you're encountering discomfort or pain, just ease it off a little. Make it a little smaller, a little quieter. I'm not sure if the people watching have ever been to a kind of manual therapist of some form, or even had an experience with a doctor that's checking out an injury or something like that. And the difference between someone that it has a kind of light touch that is delicate and respectful, and someone that's maybe a bit heavy-handed and doesn't pay too much attention to what they're doing is very stark. It's very clear uh, how that makes you feel internally when someone is respectful and careful versus when someone's heavy-handed. So you can apply that to your own movement, how you're moving yourself. If you're being heavy-handed with your with this movement, maybe it doesn't feel nice. Maybe it feels like it's actually pushing you a bit too far. But the more gentle, the more delicate you make the movement, then it actually becomes something that's possible, and you can begin to explore your body in a way that maybe it's not used to, taking you out of kind of habitual body positions, but in a very comfortable, gentle way. Good. Take a rest. Bring your attention through your middle spine again, just to kind of identify that middle part of you. And then very gently begin to slide the left shoulder blade out away from the spine, at the same time as sliding the right shoulder blade inwards towards the spine. Noticing how that generates a very delicate degree of rotation in the middle of the spine itself. Again, keeping your breathing consistent. So as you come across different discoveries during this exercise, like you begin to explore and discover more parts of you. See if you can kind of keep that attitude of curiosity, not wanting to change anything, but just really like exploring how things are as you encounter them. What does this part of me feel like? How does it move? What's possible? What's not possible? And you can notice again the difference between your left shoulder blade and your right shoulder blade. So my right shoulder blade is very willing to slide in towards my spine, but my left shoulder blade is a little less willing to slide outwards away from my spine. Is there some similarity in your own experience or an opposite similarity? There's one last key aspect to this lesson, really important and very serious. Actually, it's really nice if you smile a little as you're doing it, just to take the seriousness out of the equation. It's really not a big deal. Good. And then see if you can go very gently backwards and forwards between the two, taking the right shoulder forwards, the right shoulder blade outwards away from the spine, and the left shoulder blade back, or the left shoulder back, the left shoulder blade towards the spine, and then swapping them over, taking the left shoulder blade away from the spine and the right shoulder blade towards the spine. And see if you can kind of get this really nice, almost like a walking movement. A walking movement between your two shoulder blades, feeling a very gentle rotation in the middle of your spine as you do this movement. And never going past your comfortable range, always staying within what's possible, what's comfortable, what feels good. Okay, and take a rest. Just close your eyes for one more second and just feel your breathing. Feel down through the middle of yourself, through your spine, and just feel that what sense of clarity has developed for you. If you want, you can very gently bend down as if to look down at the chair beneath you and just notice kind of how much of that spine between your two shoulder blades do you feel now? And has it changed from when you did this movement earlier? Great. So that's the lesson today. I would love to hear feedback from it. I think it's a really lovely area to explore if you do it in the right way. And hopefully, if you did have some discomfort there, that's reduced. Or if you felt in some way that this was an area of your body that you didn't know much about, that you feel a little more familiar with it now. So thank you so much for watching. I will be back here tomorrow. I'm sorry I was a little bit late this morning. The normal time is 11 o'clock in the morning. That's UK time. And I will be back tomorrow then. Yes, all the previous lessons are in my Facebook group. And if you'd like to make a small contribution for these lessons, there's a link to my PayPal account in the description. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And I will see you tomorrow. Okay, take care. Bye.